Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Lights, Thunder, Action. Execute episode 66, Suicide Squad review, and a whole big whopping helping of What the News will be on after about 5 minutes of songs.
Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Good old boy was treated shitty, running, flying, need no pity. Family life was blowing up, not enough love for my cup. Trying only to look up, even as a baby I knew what's up. Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Good old boy was treated shitty, running, flying, need no pity. Family life was blowing up, not enough love for my cup. Trying only to look up, even as a baby I knew what's up.
Ran away for college, trying to obtain that knowledge. For baby boy Thomas, to know himself is flawless. I was growing up in bondage, Tourettic, mind unpolished. Locked it up like a hostage, cause I was constantly admonished by my family, by my friends. I'm the weird kid yet again. Piss me off and I demolish you. Nothing but the honest truth, it will just astonish you. Put you in a lago too, only keep a couple few people close to me. But that is for me, not you. But please know that I love you too. Keep you in my heart and mind, and I will always root for you. Succeed and love your life, even get a husband, wife. Just here to make art for the soul, express my strife. But if I find a goddess, then I gotta be honest. I'll give her my entire heart, no need for being modest. All these thoughts driving through this town, it's honestly ironic. When I lifted 18, said I'm never coming back, I promise.
Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Ghetto boy was treated shitty, running, crying, need no pity. Moved on back and stuck here now, hoping things and change were wow. Post-storm leaders made a vow, then lie and steal and stay highbrow. Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Ghetto boy was treated shitty, running, crying, need no pity. Moved on back and stuck here now, hoping things and change were wow. Post-storm leaders made a vow, then lie and steal and stay highbrow.
Panama City, politicians always clown. After Hurricane Michael, they left us all to drown. 5 million stole from FEMA, yeah, they thought they'd get it found. Good old boy syndrome is the only party in this town. Kick them out of office, tear the entire system down. Charge $500 a month while liars lay up on the fracking ground. No power, no phone, but we're paying for it anyway. Set the rest on fire, profits over people is the way. Burn them all down, take our money back, let them pray. Beat them to the fishes and the sharks up in the bay. Take this fight national, the phonies always stray from doing what the people want, they just look to prey on our fears and feed us lies through propaganda every day. Set us against each other so that we just fray and weaken our defenses. Yes, this is their play, so vote them out of office and please don't forget to spay.
This is Thomas Toretto reminding you to please spay or neuter your politicians by voting them out of office and petitioning for term limits in the Senate and Congress. God bless America.
What you look
We got a sticky situation, honey. Can't you see we got 1,130,000 zombies? It's like for the living dead to go. Buzz, buzz all around your head to go. sight. Genetically altered minds infested these were dead. But they rose from the grave instead. Reanimated zombie days ago. Buzz, buzz, all they please. Zombeez. Zombeez.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, August 10th, 2021. Welcome to episode 66 of Lights, Thunder, Action, where every week two Thunder buddies discuss all things Marvel, Star Wars, DC, and the latest happenings in the entertainment industry. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
I'm David Thompson, and today we've got about 17 days worth of news to catch up on, Thomas. We picked the meat out of the news. A lot of things are happening. Scarlett Johansson suing Disney. The box office is back, sort of. And a lot of other news to get to, including Spider-Man No Way Home. The wait continues for a trailer. And then, of course, rounding out our show today, we will have our open discussion on James Gunn's latest, The Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Very exciting. I very much so enjoyed it. Thomas, before we get to any of that, what do you have for me?
So every week we are live beaming directly into your homes and phones via our Lights Thunder Action Facebook page and our Lights Thunder Action Twitter. You can find those links as well as our links to the HWWSWebTV Twitch and YouTube channel at Linktree.com/LightsThunderAction. All one word, no hyphens, no spaces. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow to view the live version of our show where you can interact with us. But if you do not want to look at our ugly mugs, David, where can they hear our beautiful voices?
Yes, you can find all our full catalog of Lights Thunder Action, our interviews, all 66 now episodes of our live show, any kind of special, all of our Loki specials up on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, our hosting site Spreaker, along with a lot of other podcasting platforms. Please let us know if you're trying to find us on the podcast platform you like to use most. We will try to get on there if we are not already. It is Lights Thunder Action. Please follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating if you're feeling generous. We appreciate all of that good stuff.
All of that good stuff. Yes. Yes. Sorry, everyone. Technical difficulties. Why is it still on a slant? What is going on? Anyways, you see that, right?
A little.
Like it's a quasi Dutch angle. We won't go into too deep of specifics, but David, how the hell are you, man? It's been so long, man.
I'm doing good. Look, I moved. This is the new space. I'm gonna work on maybe throwing some of my other posters up and maybe working on the background. I got some live fishes in the background for you all. Doesn't look quite as good on the camera, but it's fine. Questioning everyone if they're fan enough. But yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be back doing this show with you, man. Very excited.
Huge aquarium. I just gotta say, your aquarium is huge. Huge.
I'm a big fish guy. What can I say? But yeah, man, exciting week. We've got a lot going on between this show and obviously on Friday we'll be live seeing each other in person for the first time. It feels like forever. And
for the first time in forever.
One thing that's also exciting that happened with me is yesterday when I went to go see the Suicide Squad, I re-upped for A-List. And I'm like, I'm back with AMC. Because I'll tell you, let me say something real quick. I had to, in order to cancel my Regal Unlimited account, and I understand there's been a pandemic and all these things happening, and the theaters have taken a big blow because of it, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you something. the customer service at Regal Theaters, cinemas, whatever the official name is, was terrible when I was trying to cancel my subscription. And you're supposed to, it's so backwards. You have to go and email their customer service. And then once you email them, they inform you how, oh, we're really backed up right now. It may take a while. It seems like they're just completely understaffed. And it literally, in order for me to cancel mine and my girlfriend's Regal Unlimited account, I had to rant and tweet at them on Twitter, them notice, reply to me, and then respond to my DMs. And then through Twitter DMs with the Regal account, they had to cancel my subscription. So not sure I can really suggest Unlimited after that. And also, I think right now, if you sign up now, this happened after I had signed up initially, they lock you into a year contract, which isn't great. But all that aside, I'm out of Regal now. I'm back to AMC, saw Suicide Squad in IMAX, and had a great time. Thomas, how you doing?
I'm good, David. It has been so long since we've done anything. I genuinely don't remember a effing thing that we talked about last time.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I think we had like 13 news stories. And if it weren't for us picking out just the meat, like this is like an entree. This is more like an appetizer of the news that happened, but it's the biggins.
Yeah.
Right? But since then, I have filmed one movie. Had a lot of fun. Counted, the amount of productions. I see my Wi-Fi is a little low. That's kind of unfortunate. And I had fun, man. I filmed the movie. I've got a new day job coming up where I'm going to be making a lot more money, and now I can get out of credit card debt a little bit. Get back to where I was like a year and change ago. Very excited about that. But more importantly than any of that, man, I'm excited that we're going to talk the most comic booky live action film of all time. I've never walked out of a live action movie and go, that felt exactly like a comic book.
Not Spider-Verse?
Live action.
Oh, live action. Sorry, excuse me. Yes, good call. I like that.
Because I was like, is this the best comic book movie of all time? And I was like, well, it's not animated, so it doesn't beat Spider-Verse. And I was like, but live action in terms of like feeling like a comic book, it really had that feel.
Right.
That's like a no spoiler review right there. Look at that. Accidental. But as you mentioned, we are days away from Megacon, and my God, have I been cramming, working on costumes, working on scripts, trying to remember what days are. I haven't had a day off. When I have my next day off, which I am going to plan it to be a real day off where I don't do a damn thing but sit on the couch and watch a movie or 5. It's going to be like a month since I had the last one. So very excited. Megacon's going to blow my mind. It's going to blow David's mind. It's going to blow your mind. But that's only, ladies and gentlemen, if you are at Megacon this weekend. And if I could find the graphic, it would be up right here because we, David Thompson and myself, the Thunder Buddies, we're going to go inside the headlines Friday, August 13th at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only at Megacon. And I do want to room 307A, I'm pretty certain is the number that has popped into my brain. And I'm going to look that up right now because I am OCD. Boom! I'm good. What can I say, kids? Room 307 is where our panel will be held. But there's going to be a lot of other stuff going on, especially with the HWWSWebTV family. Meaning, like you can meet all of us. You can meet David in person. You can meet my dumbass self in person at booth. You can't really see in this picture, but it is 3012. If my brain is remembering again the stuff correctly. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a lot going on and you don't have you're working on costumes. What can I say, man? I gotta get the costumes done for the con. I want to say it's booth 3012. I could be wrong. Terry McIver in the comments, could you help us out so we can get this train a rolling with our first ad break? We're gonna go live right here and now, ladies and gentlemen. A small town coroner has to team up with her ex-fiancé to save her town from a swarm of mutant honeybees. There's action, drama, humor, maybe even a flamethrower or two. There's definitely a ton of bad bee puns and a very unlikely Hawaiian-wearing hero. This classic sci-fi feature cheese fest, written and directed by Elise Marie and starring local talent from the Emerald Coast, invites you to join our journey from conception to reception by visiting Linktree.com/Zombeez, the movie. To keep up with all the buzz and donate to GoFundMe, that is ZOMBEEZ, the movie. And here's a message from our sponsors.
I'm GW Pomacher.
I'm Dina Marie.
I'm Sage Ia.
I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
Hey, I'm David Thompson.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mia.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hey there, this is Dave Adams.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Rose.
Jerome Conner here.
Hey guys, it's Josh Bauer.
Willow Schuyler.
I'm Cosplay Michael.
It's your boy Country.
I'm Ryan Permison.
And I'd like to ask you guys,
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
please
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Subscribe.
Please subscribe to HWWS
WebTV.
great bunch of people.
and don't forget to smash the bell.
Ring that bell.
Smash that bell.
Hit that bell.
Hit the bell to be notified.
Hit the bell to get notified of new shows.
And videos.
You're going to want to do that, so do that soon.
So we can cross that 20,000 mark
And get us to 100,000 subscribers
to 1 million and 10 million and 100 million.
on HWWS.
WebTV.
You really like it. I guarantee it. Thank you.
Are you looking for a special friend? One who loves you unconditionally.
16,000 animals are euthanized every day. If we know that breeders and puppy mills are profiting while hurting our animals, we need to stop funding their business.
A live animal isn't a status symbol or a fashion statement. It's no longer cool to carry around your puppy in a pink purse. Invite love into your home by bringing new life to an animal in need.
This is an opportunity for you to be part of the greater good, to be part of the solution. We can't keep buying our dogs while thousands are waiting for us in shelters.
Team up with us and help spread the word that the coolest thing to do is rescue a life. Before you buy your next pet, please take a look around at your local shelter.
Please, stop buying animals. Be part of positive change. Adopt.
Dude, I know that's supposed to be like a super emotional, like powerful ad, but I'm just sitting here like, look at those doggies. They look so happy. Their life is so easy. And then they cut to the one where he's just kissing them, and I'm like, oh, look at that doggy. He's loving life, man.
Yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I totally got distracted by dogs.
No, it happens. Trust me.
Yes, it does. Oh my God. You know how many dogs we might see at the convention center, bro?
Oh, really?
I didn't even think about that possibility yet. I have no idea. If we do, you'll know.
That'd be awesome.
Right? But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for this beautiful journalist to my right to enlighten us with new information from across the multiverse. David Thompson, it's kind of a big deal. You know what I'm saying? He works for the direct.com. He works for the disinsider.com. You see him here every week, and that's why it is everyone's favorite segment. What the news?
Yes, what the news indeed, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the big story in Hollywood right now. Of course, Black Widow comes out in July, and it is no longer a theatrical exclusive movie. It comes out on Disney Plus's Premiere Access. Scarlett Johansson, of course, was the star of Black Widow. She finally gets her first solo film in the MCU, and news breaks, I don't know, maybe almost 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, a week ago, that Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney over basically contract infringement. I'm going to read this, an excerpt from the article from the Wall Street Journal that I think really does a good job kind of laying out what's going on here. So here we go. Scarlett Johansson, star of the latest Marvel movie Black Widow, filed a lawsuit Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court against Disney, alleging her contract was breached when the media giant released released the film on its Disney Plus streaming service at the same time as its theatrical debut. Of course, that's completely non-traditional. And we don't know what the contract actually says, but that's what her suit is saying. Miss Johannson said in the suit that her agreement with Disney's Marvel Entertainment guaranteed an exclusive theatrical release, and her salary was based in large part on the box office performance of the film. And quickly, let's remind, Emily Blunt and John Krasinski had very similar conversations with Paramount when A Quiet Place 2 was reduced from a 90-day theatrical window to 45 days. In this case, this actually was released onto streaming for a premium price the same week as it opened, or the same day as it opened in theaters. So these stars are not happy with this. The suit said Disney intentionally induced Marvel's breach of the agreement without justification in order to prevent Miss Johannson from realizing the full benefit of her bargain with Marvel. So, yikes. And apparently even Emma Stone, because of course Cruella, her big movie that came out earlier this year, also released on Disney Plus Premier Access along with day and date in theaters. And I mean, yikes. This could have been Scarlett Johansson. This is probably Scarlett Johansson's last time being in the MCU. And I think that was confirmed somewhere in here where there was she filed this suit because there are no plans currently to have her come back into the fold. And that gave her kind of that confidence to then file a suit. And I mean, this is just bad news. And it's unfortunate because, Disney, we love Marvel, but this is some former bros vibes to it. And Thomas, I want to hear your thoughts on this, especially as a creator and someone that, I don't know, is kind of has a different perspective on this than say me.
So right off the bat, I support Scarlett Johansson in this.
Yeah.
Because and it's been talked about for years, right? Like an issue with releasing it on theaters, on streaming instead of directly to theaters is there's a lot of contracts going on. A lot of people get paid on the back end once the movie has made its money back.
Yep.
And that money is usually factored in, a small percentage of it, factored into future business dealings, because that's just how it works. You got to make money. You got to spend money to make money to spend money to make money, and you end up in a never-ending cycle. So I support Scarlett Johansson on this in the contract side because, it's from her end, it just seems like it's business.
Yeah, it is. It's simply business. I don't think it's anything personal. Yeah. I think she still loves everyone over at Marvel. And the biggest thing is this was a Disney move. I don't think Feige is the one that, came up with the idea.
I got some extra articles that I looked up because you missed. You have like the main chunk, but there's been a lot of chatter, including some Feige stuff. But before we get to that, really quick, do you remember how much Black Widow made on streaming?
They only released, I believe, the opening weekend, and globally it was 60 million.
They made 60 million on streaming or all together?
On streaming opening weekend globally.
Yeah, see, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
And that is $30 per movie bought, whereas that would have been $10 for every butt in a seat.
Yep.
That is, you pay $30 in a home of 10 people. That's $100 that's not in the box office.
And that's the thing too. Like, it's not that, and Scarlett Johansson didn't get money from the Disney Plus revenue. She gets money from the box office. And yeah, that's a good point to bring up, like why she would be finding the suit, because Black Widow had a strong opening weekend, especially, it did. It had $80 million at the box office, which is really good. It's the record currently for 2021. But after that, it had a big time fall off, a record breaking fall off. I think, and a big part of that was the whole Disney Plus streaming aspect of it. And another thing that I'm going to bring up later when we talk about the box office is just the pirating and people being able to watch it illegally so easily. It's so easy to watch it pirated when it's immediately on a streaming service, because then you have a quality, like you can find super high def quality versions of the movie completely for free. And it's the same thing, I'd argue, for the Suicide Squad. So a lot of like putting it on streaming day and date with theaters just makes people not motivated to go back out to the theater or to the theater at all. And in this case, I think it was the recurring, like people like me and you going back. I only saw it in theaters once, but I've seen the movie 3 times.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So like they lost that. That's what they lost. That's what Scarlett Johansson lost. And what's funny with these Marvel contracts, you know Johansson had a huge contract for this movie, and I don't know the specifics or anything, but I know back in the day, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't on a long-term contract, and then was able to renegotiate after a couple movies, and oh my gosh, he was able to make so much money off the box office. That's why he was able to like grow so much from Infinity War and Endgame, because he had that stipulation in his contract. And those movies made so much of the box office. Whereas now, with the box office in shambles, to be frank, Johansson and others, these creators, these actors, they need to either rework contracts going forward, depending on the box office, or I think here there's just a lack of communication, right? Like it's funny to think that Johansson had to go out there and put on a smiling face and do all this press while she wasn't even approving of this Disney Plus, release. And if you notice, like James Gunn this weekend and all the creators of the film, every creator of the film always tweets out or like says on social media, go see it in a theater, like go see how go check out how it's supposed to be seen. Before I saw A Quiet Place 2, literally there was like a 30-second video of John Krasinski on the screen being like, thank you so much for coming out and seeing the movie how it's supposed to be seen. Like the creators of these movies do not want you sitting at home watching them. And I think that's really important to just the state of Hollywood and where we're at right now. And these kinds of lawsuits, I don't think it's going to be an isolated incident, especially with right now in this shift where we're going from normal movie theaters and releases in 2019 to now in 2021, where we're still amongst this pandemic and they're trying to figure it out. So anyway, all that being said, maybe we'll find out the settlement or what happens later. I'm sure they'll just pay her off. That's what she wants. That's what everyone wants.
Well, I don't know, David. Like this is
because the contract either said, one or the other. Thomas, please enlighten me on what else.
Well, I mean, it definitely didn't have anything to do with streaming because they started working on this movie in 2016, 17, 18, right? So
yeah, they filmed Disney it. They were filming it in 2019.
Okay, yeah. So Disney Plus wasn't really that much of a thought.
No, not for the movie. Yeah,
exactly. So it was never going to be included in the contract. So now Disney's getting out of having to fork over some of that money, which, as we've been saying, direct to consumer is exactly what these film studios want. And right now it's because they can make all the profit.
Yep.
They make it all. You want it all, you get it all, you take it all. So when Former Bros did what they did with the HBO Max of it all, I'm sorry. You know what? That's not fair to Former. What AT&T did, because I have an absolute vendetta against AT&T. I will never get their internet, or maybe Sunday Ticket, just because they got me on football. I can't lie. I'll hop into a Sunday Ticket contract because I love this football. But back to the plot. When they did what they did, they gave Gal Gadot, I'm pretty sure it's Gadot. Anyways, her and Patty Jenkins, somewheres the rumor was like 10 million a year, something, or 10 million a pop. No other creator got any kind of anything like that when that was announced. They did, and they pissed off their stars and their producers. So speaking of pissing off your stars, Disney calls Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow lawsuit a PR stunt.
Yeah.
This comes from, what a name. Longtime Disney attorney Daniel Petrocelli. It's obvious that this is a highly orchestrated. Oh man, hold on. I got to put on an accent for this.
It's obvious this is a highly orchestrated PR campaign to achieve an outcome that is not attainable in the lawsuit. No amount of public pressure can change or obscure the explicit contractual commitments. The written contract is clear as a bell.
Interesting. The contract is written clear as a bell. What is not written into said contract is, again, anything to do with streaming, which is where this is all going.
Yeah. You figure there's got to be some sort of fine print where...
Here's something she just said.
Sure. Yeah.
We treated Disney Premier Access revenue like box office for the purposes of the bonus requirements in the contract. That only enhanced the economics for Miss Johannson. You had an unexpected COVID crisis, and the studio was trying to accommodate millions of fans who are nervous and not comfortable going to theaters. All studios have had to adjust. And then predicts the talent deals will become more specific about the requirements for any contingent compensation. There's a sea change because of the advent of the internet and the ability to put things out online. This will take time to resolve.
Wait.
Sea change?
If you back up to the beginning of what you just said, so is it saying that she did profit off of the Disney Plus release?
That is the vibe I get from Daniel Petrocelli's comment here.
Because I think, okay, so even if that's, I think that is what he's saying. That so okay, now she's making some money off of the Disney Plus release. That's fine and all good, but I still see where she has grounds to be like, hey, I could have made more money if it was just in theaters. And I think I could see where Disney's like, this is a PR move. This contract is completely fair. And also her saying, hey, you left money on the table for me as the creator, as the, produce. And she's a producer too. She's not just the actress. She's the producer and the star.
I'm looking up Fast 9 really quick because I don't know their box office. And I just want to know. Because as we all know, ladies and gents of our podcast fandom, it was only in theaters. So this is, let me click this. This is Forbes. The film has thus far earned 2.22 times its $70 million domestic debut, meaning it is already leggier than Fast and Furious, which made $155 million from a $71 million launch in 2009. It looks like at 25 days of domestic release, it had $155.9 million.
Domestically?
Domestically, which that's past the domestic cume of A Quiet Place 2. So we take that into consideration, that they were both theater only releases, right?
Yeah. Quiet Place 2 is actually now on Paramount Plus because it's been 45 days or over 45 days.
Yeah. So we can take a look at this because, again, 25 days of domestic release for Fast and Furious 9, $155.9 million. I don't think Black Widow can make $155 million in the domestic alone.
Yeah.
But again, let's take it back to the numbers. That 60 million Disney Plus is for one movie bought. And again, one movie equates to 3 butts in seats or 2 IMAX tickets.
And I think, and I'm going to bring it up again. Yeah. We can move on.
It all comes down. And then I just want to get one little last thing because you mentioned Feige. Feige is reportedly embarrassed and shocked over the Disney Plus debut.
Yes.
Feige's a company man and not prone to corporate showdowns or shouting matches, but I'm told he's angry and embarrassed. He lobbied Disney against the day and date plan for Black Widow, preferring the big screen exclusivity and not wanting to upset his talent. And then when shit hit the fan, the movie started tanking and Johansson's team threatened litigation. He wanted Disney to make this right with her.
Yeah.
So
I mean that makes
sense. Papa Kev.
I was gonna say, like, as someone who's been a fan of the MCU forever and Kevin Feige, like, that seems like a appropriate response from him as someone who has close relationships with his creators and his talent, and someone who really defends them, and even was totally on the side. You could tell he was putting on a face with the whole Holland situation in 2019, where it's like, oh yeah, they'll still have good stories, but like, come on, that's not how they want to do it. And so, I mean, this is, as you put it on the graphic on the screen, when will mom and dad stop fighting? It just sucks, right? Because this is, we root for these movies and we think they're a team, but at the end of the day, this is a business and this is just a part of it when we're getting these weird releases during this pandemic.
This goddamn panorama, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna move on to our second story. This took about as much time as I thought it would. Venom trailer and possible delay. My only real question and concern is, will it come out on my birthday?
Yeah, so basically, the new trailer came out. I enjoyed it, right? I enjoyed it more than the first one for sure. We had a better look at Carnage. And the interesting part of this is now it's been delayed officially in New Zealand and Australia. But just to put in some context, those countries are both now under some sort of lockdown because of the pandemic and everything happening right now. So, there's some reasoning there. Currently, what is it? September 17th is the release date of Venom, if I'm not mistaken. And
I believe the 24th.
Oh, is the 20? Oh, okay.
17th, 24th.
I might have that wrong.
It's in that area.
September. And we'll see if it gets delayed. But interestingly enough, during this trailer, they say this fall, but they don't say the exact release date. So it seems like it could be up in the air right now. We don't really know. But Thomas, October 1st for your birthday, if it just gets released or delayed a week or two, it could now land on there. So what do you think of the trailer? And what do you think of it possibly being delayed?
So I loved the trailer. I didn't like the humor between Eddie and Venom in the first trailer. I don't know. It just seemed, I didn't get it, but I get it in this trailer. I now see they're really like a married couple. Like, I didn't get that in the first trailer. But now I totally get the take on it. So, I loved the look of Carnage. I love watching Woody Harrelson. I love the scene where it basically rips out of his skin for the first time and on his, at his execution. And then we go on and Venom is just like, oh shit, and runs away. And Tom Hardy's just sitting there like, what? The red one. Oh,
yeah.
The red one. Is that bad? Yeah. I'll let you eat everyone. Really? Everyone? Yes. All right. Like, I love it. Love it. Give me more of that shtick. This fall, will it be delayed? Now, it's important to note these trailers are made more, especially the later trailers. I think they said this one was made specifically for the international audience, which is why it said this fall, because in the UK it might be at one time. Australia and New Zealand, it might not come out for a month. I think you said they might have a release
October 15th, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So 2 weeks after my birthday. Oh my god, are they gonna release Venom on my birthday? How about that? I went from this is gonna sound like you know what? Hot take. We went from possibly one of the greatest comic book movies of all time with The Batman to what looks like a modern day instant classic. It's a retelling of an old story, but with the modern cinematography and visual graphics. Dune would have been a spectacle on my birthday, but now it might be Venom Let There Be Carnage. And
what is the
I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but it seems like we've gone downhill.
Yeah.
For my birthday. So
yeah, one by one.
Super stoked about my birthday only because of the Batman.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn 30. Who the hell cares, man?
Because now
and now it's like, well, I like Venom and I like Carnage, so like maybe this movie will totally be what I need on my birthday. Maybe.
Yeah, and the thing is, with keeping in mind if a possible delay does happen, which it seems like by all accounts too, this won't be a major delay. It would just be maybe like a few weeks. Dune is now set for October 22nd, so they're gonna want to avoid that. And so we'll see. But as the trailer goes, I enjoyed it a bit more. This movie, it is what it is, right? Like if you watch the first Venom, it feels like it's going to be very much so a sequel to that in tone and feel and action. And but like a lot of sequels that I enjoy is, I love origin stories, but I also really love in a second movie where right from the jump we get our hero or villain as like their greater being or whatever you want to say. Like now we just get Tom Hardy as Venom from the very beginning, and we can just jump into action and jump into this and that. So I'm really excited to kind of have maybe a movie that's not as slow paced as the first one, even though the first one I wouldn't describe it as very slow, but we can really jump into action with this one and just go in there and have a fun time with a popcorn flick. Yeah. And box office wise, if I'm Sony, Venom 1 made a ton of money at the box office, and this one I think could do just as well, and maybe if not better, if there wasn't a pandemic because of this. And important to note, Sony, they're not doing this whole, I think it's still 90-day releases, and there's no streaming counterpart. This is just a normal theatrical release. So that's important to note. And they want, like, I forget who it was, a Sony executive months and months and months ago said, we're not going to release these movies until we think the pandemic is under control enough, and we can fill theaters. So all that being said, I know Sony cares a lot about this movie making a lot of money because it has the potential to do that, and they know that. And why would they just rush it and jump to a release when they know they can make a lot of money? And this is Sony Pictures wise, like the Spider-Verse, the spuckum of it all is their cash cow. So they want to keep milking that, and they want to give this movie the best chance to make as much money as possible.
Sputnik. I love how that we're never letting Spuckum down. You know what else is not letting us down? Spider merch. Spider merch does what only Spider merch does. It gets us hype because we'll never get a trailer. Da-da! It is the Spider merch.
Yeah, so another slew.
You sound so pissed.
It's annoying. I mean, like, come on. So Thomas right now is on the direct.com, and he's showing us some more. It's via like some merchandise from Amazon, and there's a bunch of different. There's a ton of images that came out of the new suits, the integrated suit, the black suit, and that photo showing right now. We have the Daily Bugle, kind of like logo that we saw in Far From Home. So we know that'll once again. And I think a big part, kind of cutting to the chase of this merchandise, it shows Doctor Strange is going to be a big part of the movie, and it also shows the connection it's going to have to Far From Home of his identity being revealed. And it's not in this article, Thomas. It's a different article where there's even images of shirts and stuff of like, I believe Mysterio, or like I'm Team Spider-Man. And that's like some pretty spoilery-ish things going on here with what this movie is going to be about outside of the multiverse aspects. And it's just annoying that we have to sit here and people have to dig and find these like official images through Amazon. Oh, I love this, by the way.
The drawing?
It's so cool. And the fact that you can see, so it's like integrated Iron Spider and then red and black suit. So it almost seems like in some form or fashion, these suits are going to like merge and like maybe be like skin over each other. And I just don't see, this is why you need a trailer because I don't understand how this is coming together. It's like, why there's two new suits. We don't know why. We got Mysterio and so keep scrolling here. Yes. Like we believe Mysterio looks like a shirt.
And then
we believe Mysterio, which looks cool. This is my favorite. That is cool.
David.
Yes.
Okay. So these little eye thingies, I was just noticing in the one with the Daily Bugle, it looks like they have that posted behind the Daily Bugle. Like these,
okay.
I was like, oh, what are these? I was circling it. So whenever you go back to watch this video, like I know you do every week, David, look for that because I pointed it out. I don't know what that is, man, but it caught my eye. I tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through all these. What else you want to say on these?
So,
are you still pissed that we only have merch?
Well, we're gonna talk about maybe the release of the trailer when we do Megacon and stuff, like when it's coming and kind of like what's going on here. But yeah, see that's a major, somewhat looks like a spoiler. We've already kind of seen this in some of the hot toys where in some form or fashion his suit is gonna let him use magic somehow.
Well, I'm looking at these colors, bro. Look at the colors.
Yeah, so
it's changing from his red and black suit to the black and gold suit.
Yeah, there was a and see how there it's not, because there was that's right. There was a toy with the black and gold suit in this merchandise and these toys we've been seeing. It's gone back and forth from looking all black and white or gold and black to then having those hands look like his upgraded suit at the end of Far From Home. So that points to the fact that this suit kind of like lays over his new suit. And if it wasn't clear already, there's going to be some sort of integration of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, which is definitely an interesting choice. I'm not quite sure I actually love it, but I have full faith I will enjoy every second of this movie in theaters.
Science plus magic equals awesome. I dig that. Magic with a thwip. I like that. Hold on.
Are we going to get a Science Magic Bros scene between Peter and Doctor Strange?
Dude, I need it.
I really hope
This...
Peter figures it out, however the integration happens. I hope it's not like Doctor Strange is like, oh, I'm the adult, I figured it out, here you go, kid. Because I really think one thing that's been missing from the MCU Spider-Man is seeing how smart Peter is, and like kind of having him do his own thing outside of him making his own web fluid. And it seems a little more like, and he made his suit in Far From Home, but it was like with Tony's technology and stuff, which, I mean, you get the idea that he's a really smart kid, but you also want to see it used more, like, I guess from in the older movies, you'd see it a bit more. And obviously now pulling up these photos, this is just the confirmation that Doctor Strange has a big time role in this movie, and he's going to be a major player that leads right into Multiverse of Madness.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that. I don't really have anything to say on this merch. It all looks cool. Give me the fucking trailer, goddamn.
Exactly.
That's my hot take.
Yeah.
No, but like everyone's like, oh my god, Spider-Man is always blah 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 blah. He's always needing a father, and it's like Iron Man and Nick Fury have a total of 15 minutes of screen time in both of the Spider-Man movies, right? And they're like the chaperone, if you will. Like, let's remember these movies are about a teenager played off of John Hughes. So you always need someone to rebel against as a teenager. He's not going to rebel against Aunt May because Aunt May's the fucking coolest. Let's be real. That's why she stayed alive and Ben didn't. That's a hot take.
Damn.
So, I know, right? I didn't mean to slay Uncle Ben again, but seriously though, I don't think he's gonna have a huge role, but I really feel he's gonna be like, honestly, I can only help you so much. Here's some magic that I understand in a technological thing. Figure it out. Bye. I gotta go. And then he's gonna dip out. I really think he's gonna be like, hey, this is going on. Fix this for me. Gotta go. Bye. And he goes and leaves. And that's how we get in. They're talking about the Alfred Molina of it all, like, I'm the same character from the same time. I don't know why he sounds like that, but he did in my head. So I think that everyone should pump the effing brakes and just be stoked, man.
Yeah. We just need a trailer.
Give us the fucking trailer.
We just need a trailer. Matt Rimke of thedirect.com and the Direct Podcast tweeted something out. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick, where he was breaking down a few other movies that like when their trailers released, their first trailer released ahead of their release date. And did you already pull it up? Oh, I got it right here. Oh man. So Spider-Man Homecoming Tom Holland's first Spider-Man film, was 211 days before its first trailer dropped. 211 days before the release date. Far From Home was 168 days. 168 days, and that first trailer was just so random because it was before Endgame, and everyone's like, "What is this? Like, why is there even a trailer for this? It's like a spoiler, but like not really. You just had no idea what was really happening." Avengers Endgame was 140, and even Avengers Endgame, a movie that like honestly did not need a trailer in a lot of ways. 140 days before its release date. Captain Marvel was 171 days. And then Spider-Man No Way Home is currently, today, we are 129 days away from release. And we have no teaser, no official poster. We have these toys and these merchandising leaks and a title. But that's literally it. Am I worried that it's going to get delayed? A little bit. I think it's a real possibility right now with what's happening with COVID. And that would really suck. Like I'm really praying that doesn't happen, because that would just be a huge bummer. But like I said with Venom, do I blame Sony for saying, hey, I don't want to lose money. This is my cash cow. Like if I'm Sony Pictures, this is what brings home all the money. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to waste this. I'm going to just sit on this until I know this can hit $1 billion at the box office, because this movie should hit $1 billion if its potential, like if it lives up to its potential, not only story-wise, hype-wise, and box office-wise. So I want a trailer more than most people probably. I would kill for a trailer, but I think in a lot of other ways, I'm not that upset, and I'm worried there could be a possible delay, but I'm really, really hoping it doesn't come to that.
Yeah. Hey man, I feel you. I'm also hoping it doesn't come to that, because you know me, Spider-Man is my second favorite Marvel character of all time. And my first Marvel character of all time. So, we want the trailer Spider-Man. Moving on. David, you're the box office man. You like the numbers. You're a numbers guy, just like me. That's why we get along so well. Who won the weekend?
So Suicide Squad won the weekend. The Suicide Squad won the weekend. But one is like it's a weak one. You know, this victory is they're limping across. They kind of just like defeated. Like that kind of feels crappy. Like I should have won, but you know, everyone like this is just like it's like if you won a race, but it was like your 10th best time you've ever run as like an Olympian or something. Anyway, so the bottom line is they made at the domestic box office, let me get this straight, $26.5 million at the box office, which to all accounts is not very good at the box office for a film like this that had the marketing that was put into this movie, that had the cast and the director and the big budget and the grand scale of it all. $26.5 million at the opening box office. It's actually pretty pathetic, but in this day and age, it's not at all. And for two reasons. One, there's this Delta variant flying around, and people don't want to go to the theaters maybe right now as much as they did even a month ago for Black Widow. Two, this movie was released onto HBO Max day and date with no extra charge. And a lot of people have HBO Max. And I think maybe the biggest part of it is that you thought Black Widow was easy to pirate. Suicide Squad was, I'm sure, especially easy because of no extra charge to get onto like a Disney Plus for HBO Max. You know, it was just on there. I'm sure it's all over the place on the internet. And it did it even undershot projections in this climate. It was projected for like $30 million, and it's R-rated. You know, let's get that clear. It is an R-rated movie. They don't normally make as much as, say, a PG-13 superhero flick, but still. So am I disappointed? No, because these numbers mean absolutely nothing. DC movies this year at the box office mean absolutely nothing to the success of the film or a possible sequel down the line, because we have no idea how many people are actually watching it. On Twitter, it seems like everyone's watching it, right? Like, and we live in a bit of an echo chamber, but still, like, and we don't know how many of those people, watched an HBO Max or pirated it or whatever. And so it's hard to say. It's hard to say how popular this is. It's killing it. We're going to talk about it in one moment. The actual movie, it has a 91% Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of people are loving it. A lot of people are saying it's the best DCEU movie. So critically, it's successful. Audiences are loving it, but because of where we are right now with this release schedule on HBO Max, and people maybe with the Delta variant, like I just said, of COVID, maybe not as quick to jump out to theaters as they were a month ago or 2 months ago, even if they are vaccinated or whatever. Warner Brothers this year, you just kind of have to sit back and say whatever. Like, these numbers don't mean anything. The only time like say Dune, that's like the next one I'm thinking of off the top of my head, that's like this, that's a HBO Max day and date release for Warner Brothers as well. The only reason you would care about the box office, in theory, for one of these movies is if it overshot projections and people were really flooding out to the theaters to go see it and choosing not to sit home and watch it. But for Suicide Squad, it undershot projections a little bit. It definitely is a little bit of a disappointment. I'm sure James Gunn's disappointed as the writer and director. I'm sure some of the cast is disappointed by this outcome. But you can't. And I think what's crazy about it is I feel like the box office, and this is the first time in literally history of film, the box office performance has nothing to do with the popularity of the film.
Yeah.
I think so many people are going to go see this, but they're watching it at home or watching it on some, less than legal website or whatever, It's just, I don't think that the box office is really telling of how popular this is and how good of a movie this is. And just kind of another note here, Jungle Cruise came out a couple weeks ago and it's still racked in. It also premiere access on Disney Plus. It brought in $15.8 million. I have not seen Jungle Cruise yet, and I don't know if I will in theaters, but I might go check it out. So anyway, Thomas, box office breakdown, former bros, Warner Bros, whatever, the Shua Squad. What are your thoughts?
Again, we went back to the creator and the HBO Max versus the theater of it all. And again, we deserve to be paid for our fucking work in time. And to say, oh, well, you are getting paid, which, granted, we are getting paid up front. But the big stars and the executive producers, the writers, the directors, they make a good amount on the back end after things are done. And they're the ones who have put in the most time, right? Yeah, sure, they're getting paid along the way, but to be like, well, we paid them minimum wage, so now that it's Christmas, they've busted their ass. We're not going to give them a bonus. We're just going to take that bonus and we're going to give it to us. Does that sound like corporate America? That's because it is. So,
and one,
I had a hot takes key signed up, but it broke. So, but there's that. And then at the end of the day, we just live in such a changing time that it's really difficult to get a grasp on things sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of those things where it's like, we're right in the middle of everything changing. So, in 2-3 years, we'll probably look back and be like, dude, remember the chaotic time of like the Suicide Squad and Scarlett Johansson suing Disney and all that? And we'll be like, oh yeah, man, that was terrible. Now they're all getting like 35 more movies and shows. So
yeah. My one thing I'm worried about is in 3 or 4 years when we have that conversation, it's like, oh, and like 75% of stuff just like straight to Disney Plus and straight to Netflix and all this stuff. Because one I wanted to bring up right before we leave this topic is one group I do feel bad for are the theaters, the theater chains. Like the Suicide Squad is something that a theater company is like, yes, we mark that on your calendars. Get the little posters out, get the cutouts of Peacemaker out in the theater and all this stuff. And you expect a major box office flood of people coming through. And this weekend, that was not the case. No. It just was not the case for the theaters. And it is what it is. When Warner Brothers at the beginning of this year or the end of last year, whatever, said that all 2021 movies would be day and date on HBO Max, this just became what it is, you know, like, and we can't be surprised by a box office performance like this. We'll see if it has any kind of legs. I'll keep an eye on it, but I'm not expecting much. And it's going to be really weird in the history books when you go back and look at the box office for the Suicide Squad, which is a really good movie, and the box office is just going to be terrible. Compared to, and like, that's a thing too, I mentioned earlier, where it may not even relate to the success of a sequel at the box office, because I think if they did the Suicide Squad 2, let's say under James Gunn, it could be very successful under the box office because how good the first one was, despite this one underperforming because of the pandemic and because of the HBO Max release. But I digress. We've kind of talked all we could about this.
We've beaten the box office dead.
Yes.
Just like COVID did.
Yeah.
Yes. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and take a quick ad break. You're gonna see some stupid familiar faces. And we'll be right back with the Suicide Squad review, which we just primed you for.
Hello, I'm Thor, son of Dale, here to tell you that LightsThunderAction is going to be at Megacon for the first time ever. Friday, August 13th at 2:45 p.m. Thunder Buddies inside the headlines. We're going to dive into all the headlines for 45 minutes. We're going to blow your minds with some of our fan theories, fan stories. It's going to be great. We'll see you at Megacon.
Blah!
Hello, I'm Thor, son of Dale, here to tell you about the Life of Thor Productions official shop. The only place where you can get your official merchandise for the Lights Thunder Action podcast and Life of Thor's Thor Watches series. Whether you want t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, mugs, and masks, Life of Thor Productions official shop has you covered. If you happen to recognize there's an item that you would like to buy that is not in the official shop, head over to the Lights Thunder Action podcast or Life of Thor and request that item, because if you want it, we'll sell it. Just head to lotproductions.threadless.com/collections to get the item that calls out to you via the Force. Again, that is lotproductions.threadless.com/collections. Thank you, and have a Thortastic day.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night, and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live, and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night, we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Really quick, that was our ad for the Kitchen Killers, which you can meet live at Megacon, just like David and myself. That is, again, it starts this Thursday. Yeah, that's right. Thursday, August 12th. It's going to be a great, sweet, nice time. Starting at 4 p.m. You can see me as Thor being stupid, like always. And then on Friday, we have a host of stuff. That's when all the real programming really is going to kick into high gear. On Friday, the HWWSWebTV is going to bring you a Harry Potter sorting hat ceremony at 11 a.m. in room 303A. Then we're going to have Princess Storytime in the same room at 12:30 p.m. And then Lights Thunder Action, of course, as we mentioned, all day long. We're going to be in room 307A. It says Theater 3 as well. Are we going to be in a big-ass room? David, are we going to be in a big-ass room? Oh, shit. At 2:45
I don't know.
Hey, we're going to find out live. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if David's ever done like a live crowd thing, and I think he's going to get ate up with the bug like I did. Saturday, 11 a.m., another sorting hat ceremony, 303 in room 303, excuse me. Then in the same room is going to be There Are No Strings on Me Kids Edition. That is introducing participants to the fun and creative art of performing on the air guitar. Learn to play along to your favorite song. That rhymed. Sunday, the sorting ceremony at 3:03 again. And then we have story time with Mr. J at 12:30 p.m. on Sunday in room 303. That's your Megacon pump for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk. It's really time to talk. Suicide Squad.
This is just full spoilers, by the way.
Spoilers,
I'm not doing a non-spoiler thing with this one.
So before we dive in, if you've not seen the Suicide Squad, don't watch HBO Max. Go to the theater and seriously fucking watch it in IMAX.
Yeah, I saw it in IMAX too.
Like, you know what? To steal a quote from the movie, there's no need to show off that I saw it in IMAX, except you do need to show off when what you're showing off is fucking dope.
I will.
That is this movie. That is this movie.
I will say one thing about IMAX, at least in the theater I was in, I had a hard time, and it could have just been the mixing. I had a hard time hearing the dialogue sometimes. Like I missed some stuff. Yeah, and I noticed the people I was with too. We kind of said the same thing, but whatever. I still enjoyed it in IMAX, and I will say, like, you know, I'm not gonna mess around with spoilers, like non-spoilers, because I waited. Like normally I would watch like opening Thursday night. I ended up watching it just yesterday on Monday because my girlfriend was graduating college over the weekend, and I was busy. But it was fine, and I went with some friends, and it was. It was a great time. And so I wrote like nothing for notes. I don't care. The funny, I nearly jumped out of me and my buddy. Like, so there's like two people to my left, and like myself, my girlfriend, and then my other friend. And for some reason, when after they killed all those guys in the jungle, and then they get in and they find Rick Flag who's sitting there drinking tea, and they find out that they killed the Liberators. I laughed. I was like, oh no. I literally almost like jumped like out of my seat. Like, oh no. I was dying laughing at that moment. And just that whole sequence of them going through, and then Peacemaker and Bloodsport start competing to like see who's gonna kill each other, like kill each one the coolest. Oh my gosh, like that was I laughed so hard, and I won't lie. I'm sitting there, I'm watching the movie, I'm enjoying it. I'm like, oh, this is such a funny movie. This is such like a funny flick. It turned up a whole notch during the Peacemaker Rick Flag scene. When you find out that Peacemaker, what his real assignment is, and that he's basically a turncoat, and like all like the dirty secrets of it all, like when that moment hit and we get that cool action scene of like the reflection off of his porcelain helmet, like that in that moment, I'm like, whoa, like this is a great movie. Like this is really, really good. And I really like, I'm trying to kind of just spit out like the main plot thoughts in my head before I lose them. I really liked how James Gunn, like there's so many James Gunn was just let loose in this movie, for better, for worse. They're just like, literally you could tell DC and Warner Brothers were like, James Gunn, do what you want. It's R-rated. The Suicide Squad, go. Just write whatever you want. We'll do whatever you want to do. Unlike they did with Zack Snyder. And who was an executive producer on this movie. And what was I going to say? I loved how in that moment, like at the end of the movie where we had that moment with Rick Flag and Peacekeeper and that whole battle that ends with Rick Flag dying, which was heartbreaking, and just like seeing the change in John Cena and how great of a character that is. You know, how like
Peacemaker?
Such a great character now. And just hilarious throughout. And then we go, boom, 8 minutes earlier, where normally in a film, if you think about it, during like that kind of sequence, it would cut back and forth. Like that's how we normally tell movies. It's like you cut back and forth between both actions happening at the same time. In this movie, it's like, oh, we're going to show you this one part of it for 10 minutes and then boom, back it up and then show you the other side of it, where then it all meets with Bloodsport falling down. And there's just so many like things you could break down about the filmmaking from James Gunn that's like astounding. The overuse of like spelling things out was awesome. Such a comic book.
So good. And I love how it kind of pulled, he took what everybody makes fun of the Russos for, right? Like, and even they made fun of themselves when they were like space. So he kind of took, that comic book trope and used it directly into and just melded it with cinematography. That one on the beach, dude, where it says, I think it says meanwhile, and then it moves the camera and it's a practical setup. I lost my fucking mind.
And
like,
the one is the same one. I forget what it said, but it was like the pipes and stuff on the building. And then as you got closer, you could see it like shifts, and that's just like, you can't see how it's spelt out. But yeah, that all was really cool. I like that a lot. It was because this movie is a joke within a joke within a joke. And I loved, and I will say, I did not think the characters they chose, the fact that they actually chose the characters in the end to survive, like for the final, for the Suicide Squad that makes it to the end, that does the whole turnaround that leads to them smacking Viola Davis across the head in the headquarters. Like
in
that's
the headquarters?
Like, in the like I cared about Harley Quinn, of course. I cared about Bloodsport. I cared so much about Ratcatcher. And shout out to how I was freaking out when it was Taika Waititi as her father. I'm like, no way. Why is he the dad? That's amazing. I cared so much about her. I cared a lot about Polka Dot Man because he was so lovable. And I cared a lot about King Shark, and Nawe, right? Nanawe. I loved that little squad that we ended up with, and them and Bloodsport becoming the leader that Amanda Waller. Viola Davis's character.
Yes.
Like her kind of setting him up to be this hero. I mean, Starro being the fact that Starro as the villain actually was really dark in like the basement of Jotunheim. Like, this movie is rated R, of course, and there's like, there's some nudity a little bit, and it's mostly for gore and not a lot of cursing, but there definitely is like some F-bombs and whatever. But like, I thought a lot of it, like, or maybe a reason why it deserved that R rating and where they took the R rating was in that thinker layer with Starro and how they were experimenting on people and children and how just kind of like dark and gory all that was, where, and I loved how the parallel of you're in this, there was just a tone shift there in the movie where it's like, oh shit, this is getting real. Like it's like, holy shit, like all this stuff is real. These people are getting tortured down here. And beyond that, all of the, and the fact that it was funded by the Americans, like the USA is the one that brought Starro in. They just threw him on this like island to get him out of the actual country. And they had all of the evidence right here. And Peacemaker comes down. Because that's the thing, right? Peacemaker shows up and you're like, why is he down here? Right? Like, why did he go off course? Up to that point, you think he'd be very rigid and he has his goal. And it's like, why is he down here? And then we find out what's happening. And man, Rick Flag, what a way to go out. Like the line Peacemaker, what a joke. And Rick Flag was so much better in this movie, by the way. Like,
oh yeah,
such a great character. Thomas, I've been kind of rambling a lot. Like, do you have any like big like things you want to talk about the movie, or just some of your thoughts? Some things you want to point out?
Dude, honestly, I have so many quotes that I love. It's not a toilet seat, it's a beacon of freedom. Okay. One of my favorites, of course, is I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
Yeah, which I was upset. That was in one of the trailers, and I'm like, I wish I had seen that like for the first time in theaters. Yeah,
same. Because that would have been like, okay, but it also explained the character very well.
Yes.
I've tried to watch this movie full through again, but I've been way too busy to actually pull it off. I absolutely love how, now I'm going to just break down the plot a little bit, how they set up these 10 characters, and you're like, Captain Boomerang, Rick Flag, Harley Quinn. All right, they're going to be okay in this first little bit of a mission. Like, and it was surprising. Oh, they're jumping right into the mission. Okay, hell yeah, let's go. And then everybody starts fucking dying. All right. First off, Pete Davidson's a turncoat, right? And gets shot in the face.
That was
and I'm
awesome. That was
I'm like,
perfect.
yeah, I was like, oh, they killed him. And then they zoomed on his face. And I was like, oh, they're about to kill everybody.
Hey,
Oh,
I'm the
shit.
one that called you.
I'm the one that called you.
No, no.
First off, did anyone see if the weasel could swim? Right? The fucking weasel dies. Asterisk right at the beginning, and he's just screaming, and it's like, oh god,
The
like
weasel.
at first
Oh
it's
my
funny,
gosh.
and then they just keep screaming, and I'm like, oh shit, this is kind of haunting. Like he's about to die, and then he dies.
He just dies.
Asterisk. But then we go on and we do the jump back, like 8 days earlier, whatever it was, 8 hours earlier.
3 days earlier, I think.
There you go. I don't remember time earlier, and they break down. They introduce the B team, the Bravo squad, as you call it, which is Peacemaker, Bloodsport, Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher, King Shark,
and then Rick Flag. No, sorry.
He's on
nope,
Team
not
A.
Rick Flag. Yep, sorry.
He's
yep,
the distraction.
Yep,
So
I forgot. Yep.
So that's who they send in. That's essentially our main characters throughout this whole movie.
Yep.
All right. And then they made it very clear, don't get attached. And I gotta be honest, as soon as they killed Captain Boomerang, I was like, I'm actually broken. Like that
I was
my
surprised.
That's my favorite character from the first movie. Like,
yeah, I was surprised he
like,
went out.
Yeah, and the way he did it, he just looks at him, he's like, ah. And then you got Harley going, Boomy! And then boom, he's fucking dead. Like, all that's left of him was a part of his damn shirt. All right,
That was crazy. I was surprised by that.
Burnt crisp, like Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, right? Like he was nothing but cloth.
Oh man,
good pull, right? But like the way that they take this from fucking absurd, right? I mean, you've got you got a shark reading a book upside down, and he goes, so smart, me. Like gold, comedy, gold. And David, I put it in the notes. I don't know if you saw it. We're gonna discuss our top 5 favorite characters.
Yes, that's a great way to talk about this movie because it's very character driven,
and it's gonna be hard after number 3, right? And I'm gonna surprise people with like some of the main characters of this movie are not on my list. All right,
yeah,
and some are. Back to the plot of what I was saying. You go from absurd shit like that opening sequence.
Mm-hmm.
You go from there to not far along. You get this really emotional beat. That's just great acting back and forth between Idris Elba and his daughter. And then you have, they're making their way through the thing on day 1 or whatever it is. And they make camp and what have you. And then, it's like, okay, we're getting in. And the first fucking thing that actually happens on the mission for them, for Team B, is Nanawe tries to eat Ratcatcher too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, nom nom. and we get this entire, you go from like, oh my God, it's dangerous. And they're wanting to kill him. And then he's just sad. And then it's like, would you eat your friends? No. Then why'd you try to eat me? Never had friends. You've never had a friend? No.
Well, I'll be your so
friend.
Good.
We'll be your friends if you don't eat us. And he's just like, okay. And also, while we're here, mustache, it works. So then you get this amazing emotional connection right there with a fucking shark that just tried to eat you. And only James Gunn can seem to do that, right?
Yeah. He's so good. Like he's so good at making us attached to little like animal alien beings.
Rocket, right?
Rocket, Groot,
right?
The Sebastian the rat.
Yeah. I fucking didn't even think about Sebastian. I forgot. My list might have just changed. Shit. And you get all of these great things, and it's a popcorn action flick with a horror element at times, with a giant comedy element at times, and
so much comedy.
The best way to describe this movie, it is pure character development along the way. For every character, you love Peacemaker at the end. So when he makes the choice, you're like, no, right? No. And back to the fucking, you called it a porcelain helmet, and I just got to remind you, it's not a toilet seat, it's a beacon of freedom. That in that moment, he has to make that decision of whether or not he is going to kill Rick Flag, his friend, his compatriot that he's looked up to / worked with, right? And they go back and
He's
forth
thorough.
over this. And we're getting to that. And he makes that decision and he stabs him in the chest. And his first instant realization is kind of the same thing of Superman, but it's played way differently. It's, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I just did that. And you watch it like sink into him as he's like, oh, and that's when you get the peacemaker. What a joke. And it just like breaks him. And that is not what you expect from someone who turns out to be the subtle villain of the movie.
Yeah.
Right? You don't expect to be sucked in from him being like, I just broke my own heart for freedom, and now maybe I do care a little bit.
He
about what I have to
snaps
do
right back into it, though. That's the thing. Like, I'm right there with you, where like it felt like that, but then because the thing is, it's like, all right, like, oh my gosh, you can tell he has that regret, but then Ratcatcher's right there, sees what happens, and grabs the thing, and it's like, and he snaps right back into his orders, and are like, no, like, and then like I just said, he's thorough, and you get the idea where, you know, Ratcatcher, she's like, oh, like, why not just crush the evidence? Why kill me? And it's like, I'm thorough. And
no. He said, because I'm fucking thorough.
Oh, excuse me.
Thank you, David.
John Cena. First off, I couldn't stop laughing at everything in the jungle was making me just like die of laughter. When when he walks, like that was the scene where I think King Shark almost eats Ratcatcher too, when he walks out in just his like underwear.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's so funny. It's just so funny. And there's even that line where someone's like, oh, your white tidies, and he's like, you racist?
Oh my God, yes.
It's just like, what is this movie? And one thing we haven't talked about yet is how good Idris Elba is as Bloodsport, and how good that character becomes. Just a complete badass, and like played so well by Idris Elba. It just sinks right into that character. You believe it from the beginning. And I like that at the very front, you know, like there was Deadshot as Will Smith in the last movie. And to me, Will Smith's a little more of a lovable, likable, like character, like actor than say Idris Elba can be. And not to just like compare the two, but I liked in this movie because they're kind of similar characters in some ways. Like they're you know, sharpshooters and stuff. But I love, oh my gosh, like Bloodsport's so like such a cool character. Awesome mask, awesome like little arrows he like shot out of his like arms and stuff like that. That was awesome. And I liked at the very beginning that you have that moment with him and his daughter where they're both like saying like F you, F you, F you. And you learn quickly that this guy is very rough around the edges, you know, like, and you believe it. And I think that's a lot to do with Idris Elba's performance, where you believe this guy really is. It's not like, to me, it's like, it's not Will Smith, where it's like you all like, you know, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like you always like root for Will Smith at the end of the day. Like Idris Elba could really go both ways. And you can see where he is. It's like he's not a good dad at all. And he's not a very good person. And you believe that, but you believe there is good in him that Ratcatcher senses deep down. But there is that tough, like outer shell of him. And I saw a tweet about it, actually. Someone was saying that, like, imagine like I saw it on a Monday, so I don't know how packed your theater was or crowded yours was, Thomas. But when I saw it, there was not that many people in the theater. To be honest, there really wasn't. It was not remote. Like, I mean, maybe 15% full, and if even. And in the scene where they turn around, like after their mission is done, but Starro is still wrecking shop, they turn around. It's that superhero moment, and when you know they knock out Amanda Waller, and Bloodsport pulls out the gun, and it keeps upgrading, and it's like a video game. And there's the douche. Like someone on Twitter was saying how, oh my gosh, I wish I could have seen this in front of like with a huge audience, and I'm like, dang, so do I, man. Like if that had been if I had seen it on a proper non-pandemic opening weekend where it's just like everyone would be like, yeah, you know, there wasn't that experience with this movie, and it had those moments, like it had those big theater, you know, cheering moments and a lot of laughter. And like what's funny is that there wasn't any like cheering and anything like that during those scenes, but there was still big roars, even in my small. There wasn't that many people, but there were still big roars of laughter at times, because like there was. and I will say there's a lot of humor, like there's a lot of humor in the movie. Some of it doesn't land as much as others, at least for me. And I'm a guy that normally laughs at like practically everything. Like especially when I'm in a theater amongst like friends and people, I'm like, I'm like, oh, so funny. Even though it's like not that funny at all. But this one really made me laugh hard a lot. The whole polka dot man and his mom bit. Oh my gosh. I was dying.
I'm glad you brought up polka dot man, because like the
such
most
good character.
Unexpected. I'm so happy James Gunn did what he did, because I'm pretty sure that's comic accurate, actually, if I'm not mistaken, that he was experimented on by his mom and shit like that.
Yeah. Dark. That's what I'm saying. This movie's like it's dark with his Taika Waititi was like overdosed on heroin or something. It was like, well, yeah. I mean, there's incredibly dark things about this movie, where the first Suicide Squad, to me, it was supposed to be dark, but it wasn't really, and it didn't have the humor elements. And because this movie,
former bros cut of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and the fact that this one is rated R, you have a lot more like reach and ability to do like to make it light and funny in a lot of aspects, but then also have that gore and those serious topics like experimenting on children and over having her dad overdose on heroin or whatever. Like, I mean, it's crazy stuff. I really just think I think Gunn did a really great job of balancing it. Where it wasn't ham-fisted with the rated R stuff. Like, they weren't saying the F-bomb every 2 seconds. Like, it wasn't like Wolf of Wall Street or like Superbad or something, where it's like you know, these movies where they're just saying it to say it. It's like 300 times in the script. Like, it was there when it needed to be, and it was used properly. And he focused it more on the gore and the dark elements, like and not Zack Snyder dark, where it's literally dark, but like the actual story beats and the emotions of it became dark suddenly. I will say, I want to point out one thing, not to be that critical because I really enjoyed the movie, but I will say I think Harley Quinn, to me, in this iteration of the character, it was not the strongest. I think her action was really, really cool. The flower scene, phenomenal. Like, I loved the flower fighting scene. I don't think her comedy or how she changes a villain as a character was all that great compared to Birds of Prey. To me, Birds of Prey is still my favorite rendition of Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. But it's unfair because this movie, she was more of a side character. And in that movie, she is like the main character, where you get to dive into like, oh, you know, the Joker broke up with me. And then you kind of learn more about her. And it's funny, Thomas, I'm going to bring this up now because I'm kind of diving into some criticism. I went with 3 of my guy friends, and then I brought my girlfriend because we just all went, and it was fun, and you know, whatever. And we all walk out of the movie, and I remember looking at Jasmine sometimes, like she was sitting right next to me, and like she almost had that like cringing like look on her face, like it was like something gory or something like that. She's almost like, yeah. And we're walking out of the theater, and all of us are like, oh, that was awesome. Like, my buddy was like, oh, instant classic. The second the like credits roll, we're all like laughing, like talking about the funniest parts and all this. And earlier today, we're talking about it, and she's like, you know, the more I think about that movie, the more I did not like it. And it was funny. She was saying how, and I mean, I understand her points. Like it was, and I got the okay for me to talk about it on here because I was like,
thank God, because I want to know the points. Like, okay,
yeah, because I was like, I'm like, this is good. Like, I want, because I didn't have
that same vibe.
Okay, my buddy Juan's talking. He said, and he's the one that said instant classic the second the movie ended. Anyway, Jasmine was talking to me today, and she was like, first off, her hottest take of the universe is she liked
Jasmine's hot take.
She liked the first Suicide Squad more.
What?
Yeah. And she said that this movie was made, well, like it's kind of a simply put thing, and it doesn't. She said this movie is made for guys, and that, like, she's like, I want to talk to a girl that liked this movie, because she's like, I thought like the things you thought were so funny, and she admit she was saying, she's like, I normally think everything's like, I know I'm easygoing, and like, you know, like I go to all these movies with you and I like them. I'm not this like, oh, I don't like superhero movies. She does. She goes to all of them with me. She was just like, there was something about it where the humor wasn't like getting her as everyone else, and it wasn't like she's just like, I loved Ratcatcher, but that was kind of it. And she also didn't like how Ratcatcher was then. It was fun. She's never like this. She's never like kind of on like a. I definitely wouldn't describe my girlfriend as like some sort of feminist by any stretch of the imagination, even though, you know, whatever, she has her opinions, but you know what I mean? She doesn't like, she never has this sort of angle on movies typically, but for this one, she like sort of did she had this one issue where Idris Elba's character compares Ratcatcher to his daughter, and that rubbed her the wrong way too. That's like a very small little thing she brought up, but she was like, she basically said that, oh, I loved Ratcatcher, and then they just made her a comparison for his daughter. You know what I mean? Like that's how she saw it. And I'm like, damn, like I had no like counter. I just enjoyed the movie more.
I actually see that, but also it does the same thing for Idris Elba's character, where he's now like, even she even says, no, I'm going to get you out of here safely. Like that's something that a child would say. It's like, oh, I'm going to take care of you. And it's like, no, you're old now. I'll take care of you.
Yeah. So, it was really funny. I just kind of wanted to bring it up because
I enjoy that take.
Yeah.
Because, I can see, like, at the end of the day, thankfully, there's a point in the movie where everybody has to get saved and somebody steps up. That's kind of my favorite thing. Even fucking Polka Dot Man has 2 moments to shine where he saves the day.
Yeah.
Right. And like he saves a bunch of people. Harley saves everyone a couple of times. Bloodsport saves everyone a couple of times. Ratcatcher saves everyone. Nanawe is awesome. So
yeah, exactly. Like, it's stuff like that where I feel like like we would like in the theater, you know, like we're laughing, we're having a great time, and then it's funny like later because she didn't want like, you know, like bust our balls after the movie, like, oh, you really that was, I thought it was fun, but like later, just to me, she was kind of like, you know, like I don't know, and I don't know, like I would love to know more people's thoughts, criticisms, because everyone I've talked to, literally like every single person I talked to before I saw the movie, because I was like kind of quote unquote late to see it, at least in like our circle. Was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. I can't wait for you to see it. You're gonna love it because like they know I love Fast and Furious. They know I love stupid stuff, and this movie has so much stupid stuff in it that they knew I would love it. And I think I would like to know more people that have that same opinion, and maybe even that same opinion where it's like, is this in 2021? Are there still like it's like a guy's movie? You know what I mean? Where it's like this is a movie for like dudes, if that even makes any sense.
It does make sense because I straight up agree. I'm a guy who watches Supergirl, and I can tell because I watch a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm an emotional bitch. I watch. I just burned myself here on the fucking show. I watch Supergirl, right? And I can tell how things are written that I'm not the target audience. I'm a 30-year-old dude. I just happen to love superheroes. It's written for teenage girls. And guess what? It gets me, right?
Yeah.
Because I grew up, I had a teenage girl sister, so I watched a lot of the shit.
No, trust me. Yeah.
Right? I love rom-coms.
And I love chick flicks. And I love, you know what's funny? I love, I've made my girlfriend watch it, the old CW show Gilmore Girls, which is about this like mother and daughter duo. It's like from back in the late 2000s. It's like one of these shows I watched with my mom. And it was a show she liked, and now I got hooked. And it's like there are these things, and that's the thing. Like you could say any comic book movie, even though I think now like the audience, especially in the 2010s, has grown a lot from like where it was. It's like all comic movies are guys' movies. Like some people could say that because she loves a lot of comic book movies, you know, and she was excited to see this.
I do want to say I wanted to finish my thought really quick. So this movie is made for guys, and I do wonder because I walked out of there and I was like, I can definitely tell this isn't for everybody. 100% made for me. and my absolutely ridiculous sense of humor and
Yeah, exactly. Like it was
nom. But the plot, the plot of the movie is we're going to take down Jotunheim and Starro, only to find out. Hold on, I actually rewatched this bit the other day. The mission is to delete and destroy all evidence of the Starro program. That's their official mission from Amanda Waller, right?
Right.
So Peacemaker is technically the only one on task the entire movie.
Yep.
Important to remember here. So getting back to that, there's really not a lot here in terms of the plot. And I think that the thing that people love the most about Marvel is that it is a simple plot, but they hit you with twists and turns throughout. Every twist and turn in this, I kind of saw coming. Even the Peacemaker thing. Like, you know, I was listening to the Direct Pod and I listened to, was it Phase Zero? And they were all talking, like, everybody seems to be like, I didn't see John Cena doing this. And I'm like, but why? Is it because it was just John Cena? This is a question I have for Liam and Matt. Like, is it just because it was John Cena and he was the face of WWE that you couldn't see for like 15 years? Because I definitely remember a time when he was an angry rapper who used to burn everybody alive, and he plays great villains. They never let him be a face, and that
I think
pisses me off.
Yeah.
So I saw all that coming. I think it is a very simple plot, and it doesn't take away from the fact that it's fun. And I'm ready to jump into our top 5 characters.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about the real villain of this movie. As it is at least advertised, right?
Yeah.
David, who's your top 5 characters?
Off the top of my head, I'll go in order just because I like doing that, and I don't want to cop out with no particular order.
Yeah, like 1 to 5.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna start with 5 though. Okay. 5 being the lowest. I'm gonna have to go Rick Flag in this movie. I think he's really good. I think he's a big improvement on the first movie. I really enjoyed his character a lot in this, and I love that actor playing him. I'm sad he died, but I liked what he represented kind of in the movie and who he was. And he was kind of like the good guy who was friends with Harley, and there was that history there. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with I know what my next 4 are. I just gotta figure out the order. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with Nanawe. Yes, King Shark. So much like the fact that they made a shark's face and eyes look like there was like emotion there and not scary, and like there was some sadness. Like, the one part where he's just waiting in the van and everyone else is in the strip club. I'm like, oh no, like he just wants to be a person, and he just had so much fun comedic beats. And the part where Starro num num, and then he just like launches himself up and starts biting. Awesome. He was such a well done character, and I loved like the direction they went with him. Number 3, I'm going Polka Dot Man. Loved this character. Loved the whole mother. That joke that kept the recurring joke of his mother and how he has to like envision her to like, I guess kind of it helps him like kill people and stuff like that. And his abilities were really cool. Like he was like, I had this like alien infection, and then you learn why because of his mom. And I loved that's such a fun little comic book thing where it's like that would happen in a world with superheroes where like, this mother wants their kids to be a superhero because she's like a little weird in the head, and it's like you must become one. It's almost like if Spider-Man is real, it's like, go get bitten by a spider. Like I want you to have these abilities. And he has to like kind of release them, and his abilities, like his powers are really cool. The polka dots were actually really cool. Like they're like acid. They burned stuff. And when he nails the like Starro when he envisions it as his giant mother, that was hilarious. Number 3. Wait, no, that was number 3.
That was number 3.
Oh, I messed up my list. Shit, whatever.
You fucked up.
I did. Whatever. I'm just gonna roll with it. I forgot to put Peacemaker on here. Shoot.
Would you like me to go?
No, honorable mention to Peacemaker. I'm gonna round it out. Honorable mention. Okay. He's gonna be number 6, I guess. That's fine. Yeah, I love Peacemaker, but that's fine. Number 2 is Ratcatcher 2. Absolutely loved her. Didn't think I would. Like, I'm just like this random character with the rats and little Sebastian. I'm like, whatever. She's
Sebastian. Yes.
The new little Sebastian.
New little Sebastian.
You know, she was so good. Her dad was Taika Waititi. You can't really argue with that. And I think she just had a lot of the fact that she saw good in Bloodsport and she wanted to do good. And her abilities are really cool with the rats. You know, I liked how she could control them. And she was the one that at the end of the day won the battle with all the rats, you know. And I think that she was just the character that the entire way through, once like after her like second scene on the screen, I cared about her. Every time she was on screen, I'm like, okay, I care about this character a lot. And then my number 1, finishing it out, Bloodsport. Already talked about it. I was in my head, I think I have it as my number 1 choice because it surprised me the most, genuinely. Because I thought he was going to be a little too close to Deadshot, maybe, and almost like generic in some way. But to me, they did a great job of making him, number 1, such a cool, like, decked out costume and abilities. And to me, like, in a movie like this, that matters a lot, where it's like, holy like, when it's him and Peacemaker just going back and forth, it's like, yes, like, this is awesome. I just want to see, like, them do cool, like, stuff back and forth. And his mask looked awesome, and his abilities, especially like what I was saying, where he could like shoot it out of his like arms, and he had always little like gadgets, like he's Batman. I loved it, man. And then he had the most character development in the movie. Maybe Peacemaker. Well, and a lot of them did. That's the thing. Like you said earlier, a lot of them do. But to me, with his daughter, yeah, exactly. He's the one that turns. He's the one that's like, no, this is wrong. You know, we are going to turn. We're going to do something about this. And I loved how they handled him. I think he just was set up so well, and I want to see him in the future. Like, he's the one I want to see in the future more than anyone else. Like, I'd almost rather have a Bloodsport series than Peacemaker, even though, I messed up on my list.
In a moment.
Peacemaker should be on my list, but like, whatever. I'm sticking to it, man. It happened.
Let me hit you with my list really quick.
Okay, let's hear it.
Carry this on beautifully. Honorable mention: Bloodsport.
Okay,
it doesn't even crack my top 5. All right. So the reason I said no is because your good buddy pal who said that, Juan, he said John Cena's rivalry with Elba hinted at one of them was going to become the antagonist because they wouldn't keep 2 guys that do the same thing.
Right.
Elba was the MC. So there you go. Also important to note, they never tell us what Peacemaker did. I have the quote up.
Jasmine was like, why? I remember she whispered to me, she's like, why is Peacemaker, like, what did he do that was bad? Because like, he seems like he would be good. Like, he doesn't seem like he would be a villain.
Yeah, I'm looking for the exact quote.
Well, you find that, to me, in my head, I'm like, okay, but he seems kind of twisted in the head, where like he says like, I would kill anyone to keep peace. And if his version of peace in his head is different than like what maybe a normal person thinks, then he would do heinous things to achieve what he wants to.
Yep. So this is a quote, and it's important to note this is one of the first times I just started laughing out loud because it's a repeat quote almost.
Yeah.
Amanda Waller says each member of the team is chosen for his or her own completely unique set of abilities. This is Christopher Smith, known as Peacemaker. In his hand, this is the part that made me laugh, anything is a deadly weapon. His father was a soldier who trained his son how to kill from the moment he was born, which I'm pretty sure is like said multiple times for a couple different people, if I'm not mistaken. So anyways, that's what they say. So I think that Bloodsport might be the villain of Peacemaker. Like, that would be awesome, right? Or the antagonist, if you will. So Peacemaker's on the hunt, because we'll get to this in a bit, but like maybe he's on the hunt. So maybe Bloodsport is the villain. We'll get more to this in just a moment. Number 5. David, I have to thank you for this. Sebastian the Rat, dude. I love the new little Sebastian so much. because I was like, I don't really have anybody who I can say is a top 5 character that, like, I was like, Bloodsport, and I was like, no, but Sebastian, yes, because as you know, David, I make lists of love, dude. So these aren't always going to make sense, but Sebastian the Rat was just adorable. And they got to a certain point, and I was like, do I love rats now? Like, because of Sebastian, and, you know, he's the one who sees good in Bloodsport. So he's got to go above Bloodsport. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's also going to be the one to help him get over his rat fear, which is always nice. Number 4, Polka Dot Man. Because of every reason you said, you know, it's like, we're all going to, oh, you know, it's Nanawe, hand. That is your hand. Very good. We're all going to die. I sure hope so. For fuck's sake. You know, like, that's the scene. It's like, well, that was dark. I want to know more. And then you find out, you know, he and his family was experimented on by their mother. And now, anytime he uses his powers, which, by the way, he has to vomit all the interdimensional polka dots out. Otherwise, they'll explode and release them onto the world anyway. And he'll die, which he didn't want to do. And then they build it up, you know, and he's taking on Starro, and he's cut the leg off of his evil mom. And it's just screeching, right? And he's like, I did it. I'm a superhero. I'm a motherfucking super. And they killed him. And I literally, like, they dropped it, and I jumped, and I was like, this is why I don't watch horror movies, man. They suck you into a character, and they get you, and you're right there in the finale, and you're like, oh my God, like, maybe everyone's gonna live, and they shove your head through a fucking cheese grater or something, and it kills me. Dude, that hurt me so much. So Polka Dot Man has made it to number 4. Number 3, Beacon of Freedom. Peacemaker, John Cena.
Great character. Great character.
John Cena. Okay. And I understand what Dave Bautista has said, you know, about, you know, he doesn't want to be compared to Cena or The Rock. He's a straight on actor. He goes into stuff with a serious mindset, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And they all do, but Dave Bautista is wanting dramatic roles, right? Darker roles. That's why he's got the Drax on lock, but then he turns around and he pulls off all these brute guys, and then he makes My Spy, etc. John Cena is the perfect blend between that super duper serious, I'm a dramatic actor, and the branding of The Rock, and puts them together. And I've said this a lot about a lot of people, but I really think that between The Rock, John Cena, and Batista, we might be having a renaissance, a wrestling renaissance in the filmmaking industry, if you will, because all 3 of them are fucking great at what they do. And as an actor, that's all you got to do. Just do what you do. Do it better than everybody else.
Cena to me, I said this sometime after the movie. I'm like, this is Cena's best role. Like this is his best performance I've seen. Like, especially compared to, like, he was just in F9. Like, that was the movie I just saw where he is like the main antagonist. And it's funny, earlier you were saying, like, why wouldn't John Cena, like, why wouldn't you expect that? It's like, yeah, because he was just the bad guy in Fast and Furious. But anyway, you know, that to me was kind of a very generic character and performance there. While this was, and I credit some of it to Gunn and the writing and the directing of it all, but I think he played it so well. The turn, that's where, like, acting, you have to be good to pull that off. Where, like, you notice a subtle and slight turn in the character when that happens down in the basement of Jotunheim, you know, where it's like, oh my gosh, no, like, he's here for his own mission, or, like, you know, he's here for the greater mission, and his only boss and the only person he's, like, taking orders from is Amanda Waller, right? And he's really here to, like, cover up the US's secrets and stuff. So I thought he played it very well compared to
he's the Black Widow on this mission at the beginning of Winter Soldier. If you
that's what I said. Yes. Yes. I was like, what movie did this remind me of? Like Captain America Winter Soldier. That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what I thought of.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then she fucking killed him, dude. Like, that's what I love the most is when he made that kill and he's breaking, and then Peacemaker. What a joke. And then he's like, it really breaks him, and he's like dealing with it. And as soon as mission is back on, he's like, fuck it, I'm thorough.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on. Number 2, David.
Yep.
I almost wanted to push this off and move him to number 1 just because I wanted to talk in depth about it. But I got to be honest. I can't move him up. My number 2 is the fucking villain Starro, and it's so important why. It comes down to one line. When it comes to character development, James Gunn is so good that he can do it in a line. First off, we are Groot. Tells you, well, he didn't say I, so clearly he's doing this for them, and that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I am Groot. You know, they can make that funny or dramatic or serious. You know, like, I am Groot, you know, Dad. And he goes away, no. Here, the line is, I was happy floating up there among the stars.
Yeah.
I had a beautiful view. And the Americans fucked that up.
Right.
And throughout the whole movie, the torturing of him. We didn't even talk about Peter Capaldi's The Thinker, by the way. Brilliant. Loved it. Loved the take. Absolutely what the Thinker should be. And I was so fucking happy to watch him get ripped apart. Right? Like, I could not wait to watch him die at the hands, at the fins of Starro. And so when thank you.
Is that what you call him?
I have no idea. I don't starfish, bro. So when that happens, when that happens and they break out, it's like, yeah, you know what? Like, I'm sorry about all these people that are about to get hurt, but like, you've been locked up, experimented on, and been fed people, and they only to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And now all it takes is a little bit of a boom and he breaks out. And I'm like, at the same time, like, I don't want Starro to die because he didn't ask to be brought to Earth.
Right.
Right. He was just floating. He was just living his life.
Starro is not the villain.
No.
If you think about it,
it's really not.
It's the US. It's the Thinker. And that's, I mean,
it's the Corto Maltese government, and it's Peacemaker and Waller.
Like Kang said, we're all villains here.
And what a line for the Suicide Squad too.
Exactly.
Right? Like, they'll never be able to use that because now everyone's going to be like, oh, Kang said that.
Yeah.
Right. But my number 1, David, you know who my number 1 is.
Very
Twitter
respectable number 1. I love it.
Literally, the movie had like that. The opening introduction to King Shark. I mentioned it earlier, right? I'm gonna see if I can find it really fucking fast because it's so goddamn stupid. It's so funny. He's sitting there, right? He's reading a book in fucking prison. The book is on fire. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It just happens. Bloodsport says, Bloodsport says, does it talk? King Shark. Book read. Bloodsport. Wow. Peacemaker says, book's upside down. See that? It's pretending to read a book. King Shark. So smart. Me. Enjoy books so much. Amanda Waller. Be a bit careful. He's developed a taste for human meat. That alone, that scene, I was like, he's my favorite character, and it's gonna take a lot for it to be knocked down. Then he's like, nom nom. Then he plays with his little friends. Dude, he just wanted fucking friends. Okay, Polka Dot wanted to be loved by his mom and be left alone. Okay, Sebastian wanted Bloodsport to see his inner good. Peacemaker is a fucking thorough asshole who I wish kind of died, but spoiler alert, he didn't. He survived. That's how we get the Peacemaker show. Let's go. Starro just wanted to be left in the stars to float around, and King Shark just wanted friends. And then he got his friends, only for them to turn out to be blood-sucking little fuckers, which was no friends, no. So heartbreaking and funny. And that is why, I mean, first off, and I'm bringing it back, fuck Free Willy, shark supremacy. But in this case, David, King Shark supremacy. I want
definitely over the CW version, by the way.
And you know what? That was not a bad, not a great take. But in terms of developing that character in that one episode, they actually developed his character.
Good CGI
in the show.
Yeah, and CW. The CGI was like good. I remember I was still watching that. I remember thinking like, wow, this is like really good, especially even for the Flash. Like it was good CGI.
Very Street Sharks vibe. Also, King Shark.
Mm.
I wear disguise. Mustache. that is the worst mustache ever. No one would ever think that is a disguise. That's a terrible mustache. King Shark supremacy, ladies and gentlemen. David, we don't have any questions from the comments.
Yes.
So let's go ahead, man. Let's remind everyone one last time. You can find us at Megacon this weekend, baby. Woo! This Friday, inside the headlines, August 13th, 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. David, that beautiful journalist son of a bitch to my right. Thomas, my dumb son of a bitch self. We're going to be there. I don't know why we're sons of bitches. We're sons of beautiful families. I'm sorry to our families for calling you all bitches. We're going to be there. We're going to talk the headlines. We have 45 minutes. As you see, that's going to be tough for us. We just did like an hour of just like 4 news stories. So we'll have to do some stuff. So we hope you come out. There's a lot going on. I'm going to be doing we will be live streaming certain things. The HWWS WebTV channel and the network will be live streaming stuff. David and I might be live interviewing people at Megacon. We'll find out as we get closer, and David figures out what times he's going to be there so we can plan with some of the people that I have lined up for us. Trying to get some Lights Thunder Action exclusives specifically for our podcast friends, our podcast listeners, excuse me. Our Megacon panel is, as of this moment, planned to be recorded, and it'll be released as a special audio version. We might do some live streaming from our personal socials to hype it up and stuff, but who knows? But having said all that, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a party that will be live streamed. It's going to be the Kitchen Killers at Megacon. I will be there as Chef Thor RD, excuse me, in a live cook-off against a legitimate professional educated chef. So I'm not gonna win, but you know who will win? My belly, because of food. And everyone else, because there will be lots of food. That's gonna be there. It's gonna be live stream this Friday. Terry McIver, if he's still awake in the comments, we'll put down what time that's gonna be. Because I don't remember. I lose track. I want to say it's 9:05 on Friday. I should know this because I'm in it, but I don't remember because there's too many times and dates in my head. Having said all that, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the show. David, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yes, you guys can find me at my name, David Thompson, on Facebook, at David J. Thompson on TikTok and Instagram, and at David Thompson on Twitter. That is 2 A's in the David. Follow me on Twitter. I am going to try to live stream out our panel this Friday via Twitter and Periscope and whatever. So yeah, follow me there. Thomas, what about you?
You can find all of my links at Linktr.com/TCRochesterACT. That is TCRochesterACT, and of course, T, the letter T. You can that'll get you to my Facebook, my acting Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, and my YouTube, as well as it'll take you to my website, IMDb, etc. I'm going to try, because I have my largest reach, my largest following on Instagram. I'm going to see if I can get a live stream going. And again, if you're going to be there, bring some ideas. We're going to have you know what? Let's tell everyone now the format of our show.
Yeah.
Because we haven't discussed it word to word. We've literally texted about it, and that we haven't even spoken to each other's faces.
Face to face. Yeah.
Over the internet over it. So we're planning. We're going to bring a couple of news stories that we want to talk about, you know, some fun stuff, hopefully short and things of that nature. I'm trying to jump out of here and not lose my mind. We're going to have, as people enter, fill out some slips of paper with, 2 news stories that they want to cover, 3 depending on how large the room is or how small the room is. And then we're going to, about right before we go live, we're going to try and tabulate those and pick the top 2 or 3 stories that the audience wants to talk about. And we're going to cover those as best we can and get the audience's participation, because I've been told we'll have a mic person there. Normally there's Q&As at panels. We may have a Q&A. I don't know. If you guys have Qs for us, we'll aid the hell out of them. But we will be trying to get some of the fans. We're fans too, but we want to get what you guys think. So if you didn't like Suicide Squad, here's an official, please come out on Friday and let us know. And we'll be sure to kind of lead off with those same things at the beginning, fill out the slip, give us some news stories you want to cover. And if you didn't like Suicide Squad, because we both loved it, we'd like to hear, like a 2-minute synopsis of why not. Having said all that, David, do you have anything else before I move on?
Yeah, I was almost just thinking, if depending on how many people or how many of y'all show up or how many people come, we could really just do most of the show. 45 minutes isn't a long time. Like, we could really just use the submitted news topics that they want to hear us talk about completely, and they'll probably line up with what we were going to discuss anyway. But, it could really be we are inside the headlines that you as our audience members want us to talk about and us kind of have a dialogue about and us, bat back and forth. So that could be really, it's going to be really fun, guys. Bottom line. It'll be my first live event like this. So I'm very excited and it's going to be really cool.
Yeah. He's going to get to perform in front of a live audience for the first time. I'm so excited. I'm going to apologize because I'm going to be such a ham. Like, I've already David, have I sent you our intro that I wrote, by the way?
Yeah. I think. Wait, yeah.
I am super proud of it. I can't lie. So, I can guarantee that part will be live streamed because I plan to live stream that. I'm going to live stream me doing that and all that stuff. So you'll be able to see that on my Instagram. David, other than Megacon, which we've pumped to death almost here, do you got anything you want to recommend to the audience?
Off the top of my head, honestly, nothing. I haven't been watching much. Like at the top of the show, we didn't even discuss we've been watching. I have not been watching much. Nothing to really plug off the top of my head. Don't fly Spirit Airlines. They screwed me over this past week. That's what I'm not recommending. What? I'm recommending to not fly Spirit. Anyway.
Hot take. I don't honestly know what the hell I've been watching, ladies and gentlemen. I've lost track of time. I'm not sure I've watched anything other than Suicide Squad. And
legitimately same, like
Bad Batch. Oh, you know what? Bad Batch.
There you go.
Bad Batch finale is going to be this effing Friday. So
What If starts tomorrow?
What If starts tomorrow? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to watch What If tomorrow and then Bad Batch Friday.
You're gonna watch Bad Batch the same day.
Oh, I gotta go to bed, dude. I gotta be at work. I gotta go to work at 3 a.m. tomorrow. So that sucks. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've reached the end of the show. As always, there could be no show without the Clark Kent variant to my right, world famous journalist David Thompson, bringing the news and spicy webs. Thank you to Terry McIver for his hard work behind the scenes, scheduling guests, socials, and research, without whom this show would be Bush League, excuse me. And as always, being there in the comments, putting out the links for everyone that we are advertising, all of our sponsors, all of our friends that we want to promote. My favorite thing about creating in this podcast and Thor Talks 2 is just promoting my friends. Like, I cannot wait to bring back some of Thor Talks 2 because, David, it's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening. Things are going to happen. I'll be doing
Things are happening.
We notice. Thank you to HWWS for supporting us, carrying us on the network, and getting us into Megacon. Most importantly, thank you to you, our fans that join us weekly, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, or listening
via Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or Spreaker.
Oh shit! We appreciate you spending your time with us.
Please follow, subscribe, drop us a comment, leave a review, and give us 5 stars if you're feeling generous.
It's clear we're a little rusty. It's been 17 days. We forgot how to put on our pants today.
Yes.
As always, I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
I'm David Thompson.
Thank you for joining episode 66 of Lights Thunder Action. We will see you Friday live and in person at Megacon. But or next time, for all time.
Num.